Top 10 tips for planning your Bigfoot expedition in 2024. Beginner's version. It would help us out a lot if you would like and subscribe and share our material. Thanks. Tip number 1, location. Make sure that you get online and do a little bit of research and find a location close to you that has a lot of Bigfoot activity that's been reported in the past. Not all premier camping spots have Bigfoot, and there are not Bigfoot everywhere. So do a little research before you go out. Choose a location that has a lot of reports over a pretty location. Tip number 2, go fishing. You would be shocked at how many reports come from fishermen. All they're doing is trying to catch fish, and suddenly they're having interactions with this Bigfoot creature that's trying to get them to leave the area. If you're trying to promote an encounter, that might be a really good way to go about it. And tip number 3, get an audio recorder. You should always be running an audio recorder when you're out squatching. One of the best places to find one is Facebook Marketplace. Get you a cheap one. Put it in a little Ziploc bag. As soon as you get out of your vehicle and stretch your legs, walk about 20-30 feet out into the woods and wedge it in a tree branch and get that thing recording. One of the best things about audio recorders is if you do have activity, you are going to have some audio evidence to back it up. I don't recommend spending a lot of money on audio recorders, but a good Olympus or Sony audio recorder under $100 is probably a really good investment. Tip number 4, invest in a dash cam. Some people say that as much as 30% of all Bigfoot reports are roadside encounters. It just kind of makes sense that the best way to get video footage of one of these creatures would be with a dash cam. Tip number 5, get their attention. You know, if you're going to be in the area, you might as well make a little noise and do some things that are unusual to get their attention, like play the guitar, maybe play some weird music, put out some lights that maybe flash or strobe. I even heard of one all-female cryptid research group called the Sisters of the Moon that were using wind chimes to lure them in. I think these are all good ideas, but you can probably come up with some pretty unique ideas yourself. Tip number 6, have a dedicated quiet time. This is hard for a lot of people. A lot of people have a hard time just relaxing and being quiet and listening, but that's what you really should be doing. You're never going to be able to hear Bigfoot vocalizations in the distance if you're talking all the time. It's a scientific fact that your ears close when your mouth is open. Tip number 7, pay attention to your animals. Doesn't matter whether it's a dog or horse. Watch your animals always. Make sure that you are always paying attention to what they're doing and how they're reacting. They can hear, smell, and see better than you can. And some animals can even see in wavelengths of light that we can't even see. So pay attention to them and keep them safe. Tip number 8, be prepared. It should be a no-brainer, but people go into the woods all the time on a regular basis, unprepared for the outdoors. This is not to be taken lightly. You should always have water and some type of snack and maybe a first aid kit and a light and numerous other things. I'm not going to go into detail on what you should carry into the woods with you. There's whole YouTube channels that are devoted to this kind of stuff. Do a little bit of research and be prepared. Famous last words in the outdoors are, "I'll only be gone a little bit." Tip number 9, always have a plaster kit in your vehicle. This is a really good idea. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money either. Just go down to Walmart and get you some of that cheap plaster. It's better to have the cheap stuff than nothing at all. And practice, practice, practice. If you find a nice deer track, cast it. That way when the time comes, you'll be good at it. If you take your children with you, always keep an eye on them. There have been traditional Native American stories of Sasquatch taking children and women. I would be very careful with both. Not that they do this on a regular basis, but the stories are there, and possibly the temptation. Always take care of your loved ones. Keep an eye on them. It's a proven fact that women and children do tend to draw their attention and spark their curiosity. And for the record, it's unethical and just plain wrong to use your wife as bait, so don't even think about it. And last but not least, please clean up after yourselves. We've got a huge problem in America today with people leaving massive amounts of trash in our wooded areas. It's not good for anybody, and it really doesn't take that much effort to clean up. My personal policy is I always take a little bit more trash out than I brought in. Leave no trace. Stay tuned for part 2 for more advanced squatchers. Make sure that you like and subscribe. We appreciate any help you can give us.